to my channel, All Things Militia, where I discuss a lot about what's going on in the political world, but also topics that pertain to everyday life in general. If you are subscribed to my channel, as always, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate you guys, and don't forget, if you see a video that you like, give your girls a thumb up. Leave your comments down below because I want to get your thoughts on what I'm discussing. Share the video, and if you are new to my channel, welcome. You can do all those things, and don't forget to subscribe if you're interested. So I'm coming on here again tonight, you guys, just to vent a little bit because I've had it up to here. I have no ceilings to go, like that song. And as it pertains to Black Americans trying to target or bully other Black Americans for not having the same political beliefs as them. It's just interesting because when I first started social media, I really came out to expose a lot of the lies that I had seen being told specifically by the left wing, bought and paid for liberal media. And I got a lot of backlash, specifically from my own similar shade of people. A lot of people were like, oh, you're a Trump bootlicker, you're a tap dancer, you're this and that. And I really didn't give a damn, honestly. Because I know when I believe something and I have a firm belief in something, I can care less what someone else has to say. It does, annoy me to have to deal with these type of people, but at the same time, it comes with the territory. Nothing worth fighting for or being for is ever going to come easy. But it's just annoying, you guys, that people can't even have their own political opinion nowadays. They're trying to cancel people. You have celebrities like Chili and Nick Cannon, and even when Nelly and Snoop Dogg came out in support of Trump, they received a lot of backlash from the Black community. You had, who else was it? Ice Cube, I believe, I remember, coming out saying that, the Trump administration offered to speak to him, and so he took them up on their offer. He said the Biden administration didn't offer that. But because he took the Trump administration up on their offer to speak with him about his concerns pertaining our community, he got a lot of backlash from our community. Now, how else are you supposed to come to some common ground or some form of understanding if you don't communicate? I mean, these people are ridiculous. Oh, you talked to Trump, so now we're going to cancel you. Oh, you're for Trump, so you're a tap dancer, you're a bootlicker, you're a sellout. Meanwhile, supporting a party that was the party of the plantation and still is. Regardless of how people like to say the parties have switched, the parties have never switched. The only thing now is that the Democrats are full-blown communists. Let's go into this clip of what Malcolm X had to say about that liberal party.
I say that because it is usually if you study the structure of the Negro community, economically, politically, civically, psychologically, and otherwise, it's controlled by the white liberal, who usually poses as the friend of the Negro.
And that's a word within itself. This was way back in the days, you guys, like 50 years or more ago, when this statement was made, and it still reigns true to this day. A lot of people are fooled by the Liberal Party because they pose as being our friends. They signed Juneteenth into law, the former corrupt senile president. They try to put people in the forefront that look like us in the media and on the Supreme Court, but don't tell you that these people are bought and paid for. They're going to be doing their bidding for the most part, which is not going to be beneficial for their ethnic group. Like you had Jasmine Crockett out there in the forefront for the liberal side because she was bashing President Trump every single day, but did not do anything to help her community. She was over the South Dallas area, which is an area riddled with crime, but every day she's on the news talking about Trump and people that support Trump. She wasn't doing, what she was supposed to do, which was represent her community and improve their conditions, but she was on the news every single day talking about Trump. So yeah, it's just interesting that when people take a stance on what they believe, if it goes against the narrative of what the mainstream liberal media wants us to believe, then they get ridiculed.
Out Chili and Nick Cannon for them, of course, supporting Donald Trump. We heard the audio of Nick Cannon yesterday.
Wowzers.
Referring to Democrats as the KKK and saying that he really does, mess with Trump.
Right.
And we know that Chile was allegedly donating to Trump's campaign, and she came out and said that she mistakenly did so. She thought she was donating towards human trafficking and another cause that she's really passionate about. I believe it was the veterans. And she said she didn't read the fine print, and she apologizes. And, she's asking for grace during this moment. And while that's...
I wouldn't ask for grace for nothing. If you want to donate to someone, you can donate to whoever the hell you want to donate to. It's your money. You can spend your money how you want to spend it. Okay? It's just crazy how these people feel like they have some form of control over other people's opinions and their choices. The same group of people that are supposed to be a part of the party of pro-choice that didn't hold a Democratic primary to give them a choice of their candidate, that mandated a new vaccine and told you if you didn't get it, you couldn't work, although they allowed millions of illegal immigrants to come over here unvaccinated before the end of the pandemic. These are the same people that support this party, but then have the nerve to target anybody that thinks differently from them. Make it make sense.
Have an opinion, and I want to read you guys
We
something.
are allowed to have an opinion.
And I looked this up, and I put in, were some black slaves used to hurt other black slaves?
Yeah,
and
it
came up,
people.
yes. In some instances, enslaved people were coerced, manipulated, or forced by white slaveholders to inflict punishment on other enslaved people. This was used as a control tactic to maintain order, create division. The Democrats are good at creating division. Or force compliance, though it was a system designed and enforced primarily by white masters, those are the slave owners, and overseers to protect their interests.
Now, let me just say this. There were black people that sold black people off into slavery. Okay? So, I mean, that's all you have to know to know that that race is used, and I think I've mentioned this before in another video I did about race, is used to keep us divided. And one thing I noticed about that liberal party, they love to divide and conquer, but they stay unified in their corruption. Okay, they are unified with their corruption, but they always try to divide us as a people, divide men from women, divide black from white, divide the United States. I mean, any way that they can divide, that's what they have done. And then people want to say that the parties have switched. Lie. Here's another bought and paid for liberal hack, D.L. Hughley, who's reportedly one of the original kings of comedy, who's just nothing more, in my opinion, than a joke nowadays, because he's been very vocal about black people specifically that are in support of President Trump. I remember when Steve Harvey, another comedian who was one of the original kings of comedy as well, came out. He had a meeting with President Trump years ago, I think before Trump's first term or during his first term, and he was excited about it. He was talking about how productive the meeting was and et cetera, et cetera. And then this guy came out and just ridiculed him for meeting with Trump. Okay, how else are you supposed to get anything resolved if you can't talk to a person and communicate with the person? And who are you to tell another grown ass man who he can speak to? I mean, it's just crazy, you guys.
It amazes me that to convince black people that Donald Trump cares about them, he takes pictures with celebrities. It's amazing to me. If Donald Trump cared about black people, he wouldn't have denigrated the president with those claims of birtherism. He wouldn't have stoked fears and racist fears of saying this man is less than our...
First of all, he wasn't behind denigrating whatever about birtherism when it came to Obama, because you remember during that time when they was trying to get Obama's birth certificate, it was found that it was started among Hillary Clinton and the Democrats. Okay? But President Trump joined in and was able to try to get down to the bottom of it. And if you look online, you will see a video of Obama himself saying that he's the first Kenyan U.S. president. So yeah, it was a lot of questions. Everybody, they want to make it all about race, But where did Obama come from? We didn't know anything about Obama. Hussein, Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro, whatever his name is. And he didn't do a damn thing for black people his damn self. So when you speaking in favor of him, what did he do, since you want to make everything about race? What did he do for the black race? Okay, if you weren't a part of the colors of the rainbow, you didn't get anything from Barry Soetoro.
Not one of us, to become president. He wouldn't have, in the debates, talked about bringing back stop and frisk. Jeff Sessions would most certainly would not be his pick to head the Justice Department. Donald Trump takes pictures with black people. You know why you have a comedian, a rapper, and a football player out to talk about the concerns of the community? Because that's the positions you're used to seeing us in. You'd rather have black people be football players, comedians, and rappers than the president. You'd rather see us run the ball than run the country. That's why you do it. I ain't gonna never forget what you said about this man and how you got where you are. Some people might, but I never will. I'll never forget how you denigrated his family. I'll never forget how you stoked fears. Fuck you now and fuck you forever.
Well, that certainly will get you into heaven. But it's just interesting how this guy have all this to say about Trump. He takes pictures with celebrities. That's all he does. He takes pictures with black celebrities. No, if you look at the policies of Trump, he did a lot for the black community. Far more than the first black president. Okay? Permanently funding HBCU colleges. I don't know any racist that's going to do that. Okay? Cutting out redlining, which was discriminating against blacks from getting business loans, which is the reason why when you come in our communities, you see a lot of other ethnic groups of people with their businesses, and we didn't have any. Okay? He did a lot. First Step Act. Giving drug offenders that was in jail for excessive amounts of time or sentence, were given excessive sentences, giving them a second chance at life, cutting down their sentences, commuting their sentences. So he did things for the black community policy-wise. He wasn't just putting a photo of taking photos with blacks. So it's just interesting how he had all that to say about Trump, but at the same time, he supported Biden. He didn't have anything to say about Biden. Let's go on and hear a little bit more of what this fool had to say.
Joe Biden, after previously saying he wouldn't pardon his son, Hunter Biden, has now pardoned his son, Hunter Biden.
Good.
I wonder how he would have felt
Now
if
look,
Trump did it.
I said this. I went on Twitter and it went somewhat viral. I said, stop.
And it's not the fact that Joe Biden pardoned his son, because like many people say, and I agree, if you had the opportunity to pardon your child, you would pardon your child. It was just the fact that Joe Biden was on record several times in interviews saying that he would not pardon his son. He will allow justice to, take its course. But at the end of the day, when they saw that Trump was going to be reelected because they failed with the fake bogus trials that they tried, cases that they tried to throw at him. They failed after they raided his home, got a mugshot of him. They failed with the Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt. So after all of that occurred, then he had no choice but to pardon his son. Because I believe he thought that they were going to be successful in keeping Trump from being reelected. And that should tell people a lot by itself. How was it that this man was able to be reelected in a landslide after his home was raided, after he got a mugshot, after he was going in and out of courts, after the left wing bought and paid for media was tried to get, was running coverage. He got his name taken off a ballot, was taken off of social media. He's a dictator. He's a fascist. He's all these things, and was nonstop persecuted by the bought and paid for liberal media. But he won in a landslide. Something wasn't right about that picture, the way they was portraying him and what was the actual outcome. So it's very telling people. I mean, it should be telling that this side is full of lies. Had Kamala neck and neck with Trump, and she got blown out in a landslide. And then talking about running her again in 28. I'd love to see that.
Joe Biden a hard time. You would pardon your kid if you had the chance to do so.
Would you pardon your kid if you knew what they were planning to do to him? Look at the people. This is people with this whataboutism. Stephen A. Smith does this all the time. This whole whataboutism, and it's just the same. Donald Trump is going to pardon the people who beat the shit out of police officers on January 6th.
Oh yeah, he announced
Here
it.
they go with this lie again. There was no police officers beat on January the 6th. These people are full of shit. I'm sorry, you guys, but I have to say it the way I feel it. They will run shit down until they can't no more. This story has been debunked 1,000 times. Trump is on video telling his supporters, peacefully and patriotically, make your voices heard. Okay, I don't know anyone that's trying to insurrect the government that will use the word peace. Okay, and then on top of that, they did not have weapons. So how are you going to overthrow a government with no weapons? Okay, no one died. Only one person died on that day, not one police officer. And the person that died, her name was Ashley Babbitt, who the bought and paid for liberal medias still don't want to mention to this day. And she served for this country. And she was a Trump supporter. And she got shot, and she wasn't targeting anyone. She wasn't threatening the police officer that shot her. And the police officer that shot her got honored after he shot her by the left. The lies, you guys.
All the January 6th rioters.
The people who were the soldiers that he weaponized at his behest. He pardoned the people that he was in criminal alliance with. Joe Biden, he pardoned his son because he knew what would happen to him if he didn't.
And you know who else Joe Biden pardoned, sir, since you know so much? He pardoned several of his family members that were corruptly dealing. He also reportedly pardoned 34 out of 37 of the inmates that were on death row. Did you know that, sir?
I think that he would be the constant source of investigations of harassment by the Justice Department.
Like Trump was?
I think
you think Trump would just go all out on him?
He said he would.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not, this ain't me. He said he would.
Yeah.
He said, day one, I'm getting my enemies, right? Right? So if I'm a father and I'm a petition to save my son, I'm going to do it. But for all these people who are making these tenuous connections saying they're the same thing, which is like we lack no perspective. You think that a man who pardons his crackhead son is the same as a man who's threatening to pardon the people he weaponized. It's the same as the man who tried to steal the election. It's the same as a man
Oh, shut up. How do you try to steal an election? I heard people say, well, he was on the phone with the Georgia governor saying that he needed so many more votes. Because that election was rigged. They stopped the count on election night. Okay? Why? This is supposed to be election day where we know before the end of the day who is the president. But they stopped the count. When I looked at Google Maps, Trump was up in all of the remaining states with the majority of the count in. And then miraculously the next day, everything started switching over to blue. Several people came out under oath, willing to testify that they had witnessed fraud, but they were censored in silence. None of the courts would even hear President Trump's case, because of course this was a collusion, okay, of the government along with the bought and paid for liberal media and the left-wing Democrat Party to get him out of office, to stage a coup to remove him from office. So it was a lot of questionable things about this election. They weren't even allowing people to come in to watch the count. They were covering up windows. They did a lot of fraudulent activity. So when he questioned the election, he's an election denier. But then when Hillary Clinton lost, after it was known that she stole reportedly the nomination from Bernie Sanders and went on to her whole campaign, sore loser campaign, talking about how Trump was illegitimate and even was behind reportedly that Russia collusion hoax, where they tried to frame Trump saying he colluded with Russia to win 2016. These people are a bunch of hypocrite, demonic liars, you guys. And it's interesting how this guy can speak in any type of favor of Joe Biden, but has so much to say about Trump when Joe Biden has been known to say things like this.
We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
You don't say.
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy.
So Biden said this about Obama. You got the first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean and nice looking. That don't sound racist to prejudice or racist to them, y'all. I mean, where was the mainstream media at with the report on this? Since they love to talk about racism and race when it pertains to Trump.
I mean, that's a storybook, man.
Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes
Yeah, they
about
come in on
different
all
things.
sides of the border.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It's an indicator of taking black people for granted. It's a way of saying, we got y'all. It's a way of saying, I can be overconfident because I know that you guys always vote Democrat. I can predict how you guys are gonna vote. And I know that you guys have already bought into the narrative that Trump is racist, right? So as long as I'm not Trump, I can do whatever I wanna do. I can say whatever what I wanna say, and I don't have to worry about you and any of your concerns and being intelligent enough to speak to your concerns intelligently.
And that's it, you guys. Look at how when they put Kamala up without holding a primary, she had Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, out of all people, to try to pander to black people to get their vote. Had some twerkers come out, okay, paid Beyonce $10 million to do a 2-minute speech, knowing she's not even a public speaker, she's a performer. But that's all they think of us. Oh, just throw some entertainers in front of them that have a lot of influence, and we can use their influence to get their vote. Those days are over. Those days are well over. We don't want to hear nothing from no celebrities, no bought and paid for millionaires that can't even speak their own mind. They're not free. They got to try to protect what they got, and that's why they had to come out and speak. Okay, we're done with that. We're the ones that have to pay and wake up every day and go to work and try to maintain a living. We don't want to hear someone that already got it made and tell us who we should vote for, and especially when it's not in our best interest. So it's just interesting that black people, particularly, a lot of them still are in that frame of mind. That if you don't think like them, then that you are a sellout. And it's annoying. Like, you have the right to choose who you want to choose. We didn't say anything when you all chose this thing right here. Okay, we just suffered for the 4 years until it was over, until his own party gave him the boot. Okay, so that's just my thoughts on it, you guys. I'm just sick and tired of every time someone comes out in support of Trump or a party outside of the bought and paid for liberal party and plantation members, that they get ridiculed and ostracized simply because of their own personal choice and belief, which is their right, okay, as a human being to have. We are free, okay? We are free. Those are my thoughts, you guys. Give me yours in the comment section, and I'll see you later.